Hi, this is Gary Bowles, based in San Francisco. I'm really excited about bringing big ideas to people inside organizations, and I'm really honored to show you these videos by John Hagel and John Seely Brown. Enjoy.
But I mean, that idea of constructing the context is something that now becomes an explicit thing to think about.
Yeah.
All the pluses and minuses of that.
Yeah.
Let's go back and, you know, it's very clear. The fundamental thing that got us going in this was the big shift and the various waves therein. And I think it would be really great to see if we could kind of capture those waves and how they themselves likewise build on each other.
Exactly. Now, again, the notion that we've ended up organizing our book around in large part is this notion of three overlapping waves. They're not by any means sequential in the sense that one plays out before the other one comes in. In fact, as you said, they kind of fold back on each other and reinforce each other.
That's why the notion of wave is kind of nice.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's the notion of, and these are very big waves, but the first wave being the catalyst, the digital infrastructure and the public policy shifts that are intensifying competition, creating more uncertainty. Then that leads in turn to the notion of, as you get more intense competition, more uncertainty, you have to move from a world where you hold on to stocks of knowledge and protect them and extract the value from them to a world of flow where you're trying to connect into more diverse knowledge flows that can continually refresh your knowledge stocks and allow you to stay ahead of the game. So that's a key shift in terms of where the economic value is from stocks to flows. And that in turn leads to a notion of what kinds of flows are the most valuable, most useful. It is flows that emerge on various edges that are continually forming. They can be demographic edges, geographic edges, technological edges. But the notion is, if you can figure out ways to plug into knowledge flows in those edges, you're going to be a lot more successful in gaining the right kind of knowledge to continue to stay ahead of the game. So that's the second wave, is playing the flow game, if you will. The third wave then starts to really frame the opportunity, which is to take these flows and basically figure out how to create creation spaces that will allow you to learn faster by working with others around these knowledge flows. And it's clearly the most speculative part of our work. We certainly are well into the first wave. The second wave is playing out as we speak. The third wave, you start to see some early indicators of how that might work. But if we're right about it, it creates massive opportunity in terms of, for the first time, turning our diminishing returns world, where we face this experience curve that says the more experience you get, the longer you have to wait for that next increment of performance, now becomes an increasing returns world, where the more people that participate, the more rapidly everybody learns. And that's very exciting. And that's ultimately how we turn this stress that's created by this intensifying competition into a world of stimulus where we're more effectively achieving our potential by learning faster.
And by coming together to do things together.
Yes, and it's the notion of doing it in collaborative creation spaces that's critical, that no matter how smart you are as an individual, you're going to end up learning a lot faster if you're connecting with a lot of other smart people and engaging around these joint construction efforts.
We talked about the three waves of the big shift. But a lot of people, when they hear us, they think the whole question is, how do I move from here to a stable endpoint out there? So there's a real, how do you facilitate the transition from one steady state to another steady state?
Right.
And yet we're talking about something much more fundamental than that, because what we're really saying is, how do you move from equilibrium here to a whole notion of constantly transitioning?
Yes.
And so many of the pull practices we're talking about are what brings stability to a constantly transitioning set of end states.
Right, right. No, I think that's an important point. One of the problems we have in using the label the big shift as powerful as it might be at one level, is that it does create this image that you're moving from stable point A to stable point B, and we really do need to make people aware that, in fact, there is no stability at that level. There may be some meta-stability, if you will, in terms of kinds of practices that work in this new world, but the environment changes at an ever-increasing rate as we adopt these practices of pull.